Welcome back, and we want to continue this connection here. So I'll select everything here. I'll select that, then right click and come to assembly right there and select on that. Right click and come to special copy. I'll take it down to linear, and I want to copy this member from this end to this end is approximately 0.88. So I'm going to feed that 0.88 for 488 millimeter there. So I'm going to click copy. So the moment I click on copy, I'll be able to I'll be able to find my member or my assembly right here, but slightly there's inappropriate connection. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to right click and come to special move, pick on linear. So I want to take it slightly up at an interval of 2 meters, so that until we see it, we see the appropriate connection coming closer to our eyes here. So that's okay. I can close that. So we retain it as it is now, and right click once again and come to special copy and pick on mirror, and my mirror is still on the same position. I'll go ahead and click run and close that. If I zoom close, I'll find it somewhere here, and my connection has been created on that end. So let's create another connection here. So we have to create 2 points here and project them up by 40 millimeter. So I'll come to edit here and pick on point. So the moment I pick on point, I just mouse over this node and enter on my keyboard. So I'll just type DZ. DZ means we are moving up, and if it's negative, you prefix your dimension with a negative sign, not the DZ. So I'm going up by 40. So I'll enter that. So you can see that this is 40 from this end. So I have to project this point the other end. So what do? I'll come to points and pick on projected point. So I'll press Control and mouse over the edge of this particular member, 1 point and a second point, then pull this or select the point you want to project in between the two. Select on that, and you have the point projected on the other end. So I want to copy this point, these 2 points downward at a distance of 106. So I'm going to select the two points here, select on that point, right click and come to special copy here and pick on linear, and we'll move down against the z-axis. So we have to prefix that dimension with the negative sign and click OK. So if we zoom close, we have our points in place. You can see the points. We have the points here. We have this, and that. So we have to link up the 4 points to create a contour plate, and come to steel. We get to a contour plate tool and snap on this spot here and snap on that spot there and move all the way down there and connect that and close the gap, close the loop, and we have our plate in place. So the plate is way big or way thick. You can double click on it to change the thickness maybe to 6 millimeter, and click OK, and you can bring it forward and click OK. That's it. You can close that. And still not okay. Press M and enter to bring it back, and I can bring it to click behind, and that will be able to work appropriately. Now I want to trim this to the surface of this plate. So which tool do I use? I'll come to edit, I'll come to cut by part, and I'll pick the part I want to cut. That's the wrong part. I'll pick this part I want to cut, this part, and cut it by this. So I'll retain my part, and that is still wrong, not the best way to do it. Let me undo that. And if I select that and come to assembly, I'll not be able to have an assembly here. So I can still see the penetration or an extension of that member right there. I can hide that. You can see I still have that. Right click and come show all, and I can come back and pick on cut by part. I'll select the part I want to cut, and the cutting part is this. So do you want to delete the part do you want to delete the cutting part? No. So no, it's not coming out accurately, and let me turn that round. Let me select on that. If that is not working, there's so many ways. I can come here and use contour plate and select on that, select on this member, then I'll snap on that spot, snap on that spot, snap on that spot, snap on this spot, snap on that spot. We have so many ways, and close the gap there. And we've trimmed that part. So if one doesn't work, the other one works. So I want to create a bolt here. I want to create a bolt here. So what I'm going to do, it's very easy. I'm going to create a point between this end, between that edge to that edge, a dividing point between that end, from this end to that end. And also at the bottom end there, I want to create a point. I want us to create a point at the bottom end here. From the bottom end there, let me just put a point randomly and click there, select on that point and bring it up. So we have to make this point uniform. I'll come to measure, select on measure, and measure this point to the edge right there. That is 20 millimeter. And this one also, we have to make it 20 millimeter. So we have to select on that, right click and come to special copy and come to linear on Z axis, just type 20 millimeter and click OK. So we have this in place. So I'll close that. Now I'll come to bolts under steel and come to drop down arrow there under bolt and click on that, and I want to bolt this and this. So right click and come to special copy right there. So there's one thing we need to rearrange. We have to reorient our XYZ plane. So I'll come to XYZ, I'll come to view and come to more options and pick on the surface and select on this surface right there. I have my work plane tool on the surface there. So I'll go back to my steel and to bolt tool, pick on that and select the components I want to bolt together, right click and pick the 2 points I intend to bolt together. I've created a bolt, but the symbol you can see, reason is because the settings are way bigger than the point we are working on. So we have to readjust this under position tab. So I have to turn this, I have to get rid of that. Maybe I can take that to 10 and maybe take this to maybe 10 and maybe 2 are okay. Let me first of all use that. Clear apply, and we have that in place. So we can minimize the number of bolts there. We can just use 1 and click OK. So we have 2 bolts in place and we can put them right in the middle and click OK. So our bolts are in place. So if I click on that and turn it around like that, we have our bolts in place. So that's how we can work around with it. And what we're going to do next is just to weld this member, weld this angle line or this L-shaped angle to this member. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld. I'm going to auto weld, pick on that. I want to weld this to this. And right click and click on empty screen. Then the welding has not been done properly. So I'm going to pick it once again. I'll come to weld or auto weld right there and weld this to that. Or trim it first. I'll come to edit first and come to cut by part, and I want to cut this member using this member. So I'll retain my member, the cutting member. So I'll right click on that, then come back to steel, come to weld, auto weld, and pick on that, and I want to weld this to this. Right click. If the procedure is not working, do it the other way, weld that to that. So the welding has been created, so you can see we have the welding there. So we can copy that the other end. We can select the assembly here, right click, select the assembly, and we can mirror that on the other end. So this seems to be a full assembly. So we can undo that and do it properly. Let me select assembly, and that is not behaving well. Undo that and undo that. So if I select that and pick on the assembly, it's okay now. So I want to weld this member to the base plate here. So I'll come to weld, auto weld, and weld this member to that member. So I've welded that. So I'm going to select on that, right click and come to assembly right there and mirror it on the other end. So let me try use a copy mirror, and our mirror is still on the same position, and click on that. So if I close, I'll be able to see it on the other end, but it's not accurate. Let me just check that. It's accurate, and that is exactly what we wanted to see. So I'm going to create a weld between this and this member, and this member and that member. So let me turn it right that way so that we can have a clear view of what I'm trying to talk about. So I want to weld this component to that component. I'll come to weld or auto weld here, pick that member. I want to weld this member to this member. So the welding has been created. Perfect. I'll come back again and come to that member. I want to weld this member to this member, and welding has been created. So that's it. So if I select on this member, right click and come to click on assembly and show selected only, you can be able to see I have these members in place. You can see I'll have this welded and carried to site as an assembly. So if I right click and come to show all, and that is what I'll have. So let's continue in the next presentation where we'll be now starting to place our bracings. So let's meet then, and bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm Maurice Dimba.